Hello everyone, it's Desertenu here, and today I'll be going through several of the matchups that I faced on my climb to 7,000 trophies. The first replay we're going to go into here is against Balloon Cycle. Balloon Cycle can often be a pretty challenging deck to face, since if they take a tower early, there's very little you can do to make a comeback against them. In these replays, you'll notice that when I start off, I usually play a spawner building. This is because it forces a response from the opponent, and it can be used to help defend as well. When I don't have a spawner building in rotation, I usually play the cheapest minion behind the crown tower, behind the king tower. Since I noticed that my opponent used their miner, and that is out of cycle, I placed the goblin hut behind my crown tower. It's at this point that they decide to send the balloon. I'm going to defend against that with Baby Dragon and use the Knight. I actually didn't expect the miner to go for my goblin hut there, so my Knight ends up going on the offensive. This works my benefit, however, as the spawn troops quickly take the tower. Now, my goal is to prevent the opponent from getting any towers. Going to use the Barbarian barrel to shut the Musketeer down. And I'm going to split Barbarians so I can defend against both lanes. My opponent goes with a push here. Use the Goblin Hut to pull in the balloon, and I'm able to kill it before it gets a shot on the tower. Split Barbarians again to prepare for defense. I poison the Musketeer, but the opponent's balloon push also comes in, and I end up losing the tower. I place the Barbarian hut down since the opponent just pushed with the balloon. That way, I can't be punished for it. It's a bit easier to defend against the balloon once you've actually lost a tower, since the king tower helps. Going to defend against that balloon, and my troops are going to approach the king tower. Whenever I see a musketeer in range, I'm usually going to poison it, but I was able to take out that one using the Barbarian barrel. My goal now is to destroy the king tower. Going to continue playing very defensively so that I don't let another balloon leak through my defenses. Since I know my opponent has no large spell, I can place spawner buildings closer together without being punished. My opponent makes a good play and uses a mini P.E.K.K.A. to defend their musketeer preemptively, but my troops are able to push through, and I continue chipping away at the tower. The opponent destroys my goblin hut with a mini P.E.K.K.A. I was afraid that if I placed it close to the king tower, the balloon might ignore it and destroy my other crown tower. My opponent goes in for a push, but I'm ready to defend against it. I'm expecting a balloon push with that musketeer, so I poison the area around it and use the bar barrel to take it out. Then all I have to do is defend with the Mega Minion. I'm able to save the tower, and my spawn troops are beginning to take tower bit by bit. I use Barbarians to get aggressive, and I send the Barbarian barrel. Gets a hit on the tower, now all I need is a poison to win. So, I place my air troops near the tower so I can use poison. The opponent tries to send a balloon, but it's too late. The next matchup I'll go into is Royal Giant. When I don't know what deck the opponent is using, I generally place the Barbarian hut first. The reason for this is that it's more threatening. And once again, I'm going to patiently develop spawner buildings while I wait to see how my opponent reacts. I'm going to use Baby Dragon to take out that Electro Wizard. And I'm going to let Baby Dragon and the Spear Goblins kill my opponent's Baby Dragon. They didn't get the job done, so I sent out the Mega Minion. And my opponent placed their Mega Minion close to the furnace, so I can obtain good poison value. At this point, I suspect it's a Royal Giant deck or a Bridge Spam deck, since most of the cards are used in those decks. Going to defend again, send out Baby Dragon. My opponent just used Lightning. That means that I can place my Mega Minion near my spawner buildings without any consequences. This allows me to store up more elixir for future pushes. I then place the Knight and the Barbarian hut. My opponent placed their troop in proximity to the furnace again, so I poison it. I made a bit of a mistake here where I tried to pull in the Lumberjack, but I missed, and I'm going to pay for it dearly. But fortunately, I had Barbarians to defend the incoming Royal Giant. I played Baby Dragon so I can take down some of the Fire Spirits that I anticipated from the Furnace. And my counter push is able to force the opponent to respond. I sent out a Knight and a Mega Minion to apply more pressure, along with the Barbarian Barrel. This allows me to get a bit of damage on the Princess Tower. I'm going to continue chipping away at the opponent's tower with poison. Fortunately, they continued to place their troops near their furnace, so I was able to obtain value from it. My opponent tried to attack my baby dragon, so I sent Barbarian Barrel to deal with the Electro Wizard. And once again, I'm just going to continue chipping away at the tower. The opponent sends out the lumberjack, so I defend with the knight. If I'm unable to get the spawn troops to reach the tower, I usually just spell cycle. My barbarians are going to make quick work of that royal giant push, and my barbarians are going to get a few hits on the tower, nearly killing it. Now, all I need to do is use poison one more time. Since I know the opponent has lightning, I'm not afraid at all to use barbarians to defend, and they're unable to break through my defenses in time. But some barbarians on the other side are going to take care of the tower. Next, I'll be going into Expo. Since the opponent played archers and a Tesla, I know exactly what deck it is. So now that they played their Expo, I'm going to destroy it with the Dragon and the Barbarian Barrel. Against Expo, it can be a bit difficult to break through the defenses sometimes, and if the Expo gets a lock on the tower, the game is over as they can just spell cycle you. So what you're going to see is me defending my spawner buildings with troops like the Barbarians, Baby Dragon, and Mega Minion. Since the Expo is almost dead, I don't address it. And I'm going to place my Goblin Hut on the other side, since that's the weakest tower. Expecting an Expo, I place the Knight and prepare to defend against it. Since my opponent used their air defense in the archers, I used the Mega Minion, and am able to heavily damage the Expo. I was a bit too slow with my Barbarians there, and I wasn't able to defend the Barbarian hut for its remaining health. Many times in the Expo matchup, I'm unable to break through, so I often just go for the draw. If the opponent plays an Expo in a defensive position, I poison it as well. That way it can't be used in a future attack. Since the opponent used Fireball, I place another Goblin Hut behind the Crown Tower. Going to play Mega Minion on the other side, since I think that's where the opponent will attack next. I used Baby Dragon, and split Barbarians once again. This forces my opponent to address both lanes. I often poison the Expo when it's used offensively, if I don't feel I have a better response at the moment. The rest of this match is just going to be me playing defensively and going for a draw. The opponent or me aren't really able to break through, so the result of this match ends up in a tie. Splash Yard with Bowler is a hard counter to my deck, especially one such as this that has a Sworn Troop like Barbarians. If I had something like Cannon Cart instead, the matchup might be more winnable. But the last matchup I'm going to head into is Giant Beatdown. Since I have no spawner buildings in my opening hand, I'm just going to use the Knight to start off the match. I could have used the Barbarian Barrel instead, but since it's such a strong card, I try to keep that until I need it to respond to something. My opponent uses a Prince, so I'm going to block it with Barbarians. I use a Fireball, and I wait to see what to do. Since the opponent used the Miner, I used Barbarian Barrel to kill the Electro Wizard. And rather than address the Miner, I save Elixir so that I can build up a push later, and use the Knight to defend the Dark Prince. The opponent's going to use a Mega Minion here, then they'll send out the Giant. I use my air troops to defend against the Mega Minion and dismantle the push. I expected the Miner, so I placed the Goblin Hut and defend it with the Knight. I then used the Mega Minion to protect my spawner building. The opponent used their fireball, so I know that they're more vulnerable to barbarians now. Because of that, I'm unafraid to place the barbarian hut in the back. Going to counter the miner with the knight again, and they use the fireball. It was against the knight, so now they have less to deal with the barbarians. Sensing the danger of the situation for the opponent, I continue to push, and I'm able to break through their defenses. They send out a fireball, but it's too little too late. Okay, well, that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching, and that's the end. Bye.